Hey guys, so I didn't get to record a lot of stuff outside of streams lately, so I thought instead I'll do something that's a little bit easier and faster to record and edit, which is a discussion vlog. 2 discussion vlogs to be exact. One of which is going to be this one on the topic of what I expect of the PlayStation 5. And the other one's gonna be on another topic, and you're gonna see that when the video comes out. Anyway, before anybody says anything about why I talk about something like a console anyway, the PlayStation platform in general has a whole lot of really good exclusive titles, which is why I own everything up from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 4. And I could make basically another video solely focused on why exclusives are the only reason consoles sell at all. But yeah, that's a whole different topic. And I don't want to get into that right now, since this isn't about why console exclusives are the only reason consoles exist. This is about what I expect of the PS5. First off, and that's probably not going to be a problem looking back at the PS4 and PS3, no region lock. I definitely do not want region lock on the PS5. And seeing as the PS4 and PS3 were able to play any title from any region on any PS4 or PS3, I expect the PS5 to do this as well. As I said, probably not something I need to even worry about, since, PlayStation hasn't had region lock in forever. Seeing as it's completely bullshit to have region locking in this day and age anyway, seeing as the whole PAL versus NTSC thing isn't a thing anymore. Seeing as all the HD flat screens use the same refresh rate and everything. So that whole thing got abandoned once HD was a thing. If anything, I want them to make the PlayStation stores of other regions accessible on any other PlayStation in any region. But the only problem you'd have there is basically how do you tax that and everything. But other than that, I don't see a reason why any game shouldn't be available everywhere in the entire world, no matter what, and without having to go through setting up a frickin' Japanese account to buy a Japanese game on the Japanese store with yen PSN code bought from PlayAsia. Yeah, I just really want to be able to just buy what I want to buy from a store without having to set up an entire new account for it. Which is also a thing. I do want still that you can play your games that are installed on one account and are owned by that account on another account on the same PlayStation 5, the same way you do on the PS3 and PS4. Second point, backwards compatibility. I absolutely expect backwards compatibility for PS4 titles. That includes PSVR. I absolutely expect that. If they don't do that, they basically just missed out on pretty much the biggest chance of initially selling the console. Because I pretty much expect the sentence, all your PS4 games will work on PlayStation 5 day one, to be in the presentation, in the reveal presentation of PlayStation 5. any emulation of PlayStation 3 and 2, and beyond that, PlayStation 1, would be an incredibly awesome addition, especially if those older games, especially the ones that were locked at 30 FPS, would still get like an upgrade to running at 60 FPS. I don't know about them running in 4K or anything, but yeah, any upgrades and better performance of older games, especially the ones before PS4, would be an incredibly awesome addition. It basically would be a system seller right away. But yeah, I absolutely expect PlayStation 4 games to work, and basically better than on the PlayStation 4 Pro. So anything that is checkerboard 4K on PlayStation 4 Pro should probably be native 4K on the PlayStation 5. And of course, if it's backwards compatible, any PlayStation Plus cloud saves you might have should definitely be accessible and compatible with anything you emulate on the PlayStation 5. Because it would be really fucking stupid to have to play games over again just because you changed console. Which brings us to the next thing. I want 4K 60 on every game, or at least an option to choose between a native 4K 30 lock and a checkerboarded upscaled 4K with 60 frames per second. I definitely want an option to play any game that I want in 60 frames per second. There is no excuse for another 30 frames per second game to ever exist on a console that is as powerful as what is going to be the PlayStation 5. At least from what we know, the PlayStation 5 will have a Ryzen-based processor with probably something along the line of Vega or Navi in the graphics department. And yeah, with the optimization that goes into making a console game, I definitely do not see any reason why it would be anything lower than 60 frames per second, period. And as I said, if you want to push the boundaries of the console throughout its lifespan, go ahead, include an option to do 30 locked with higher fidelity, but give us also the option to lower the fidelity a little bit and get a locked 60 instead. Another very important point, I want at least 1 terabyte of hard drive space, because games aren't getting any smaller. They're getting bigger and bigger, and it's a whole lot of management time that goes into managing which games you want to have installed at what time if you don't have a lot of space to store. Like the 500 gigabytes in the PS4 are hardly enough. Like hardly. The 1 terabyte Pro version, yeah, that's more like it. That's double the size. 1 terabyte, yeah, that's like the bare minimum I want to see. Also, it should be an SSD. It should really be an SSD. Hard drives, like physical disks that spin, nah. Not that's just not something I want to deal with anymore. The loading times on consoles are shit anyway. SSDs do a whole lot to reduce that. Please just make it an SSD. I mean, I don't absolutely expect an SSD, but I absolutely expect 1 terabyte plus of hard drive space. Next, the controller. I expect that to be very, very similar to the DS4 as it is now. Seeing as the DS4 is easily the best controller that there is right now. Definitely the best controller I've ever used. And I like with a few little tweaks, like the sticks are a little bit small. Make those more like the ones on the DS3, because if you compare that, the DS3 had a whole lot bigger sticks. Those are nicer, just in general. You also don't slip off that easy of those than of these. These are not really the greatest sticks. The sticks, however, are the only real reason the only real part of the controller I criticize. Seeing as maybe the conductive rubber under the buttons should be something more durable than just some silicone rubber. Maybe make that, I don't know, micro switches or something. That would make the controller really expensive, but these are really expensive. Those are really fucking expensive for a controller. Like, you could get pretty good controllers that aren't incredibly expensive, unless they are officially endorsed stuff, like the Pro controllers for the PS4, which are ridiculously expensive. This is expensive. The Pro controllers are ridiculous. That's just a no. One of those definitely does have micro switches and like individual buttons for the D-pad, which is a really cool idea, and I definitely like that on the standard controller. But yeah, I don't see them doing that without the controller getting like up to 80-90 per controller instead of the $60 it costs now, which is already really expensive, as I said. Anyway, one thing though, the touchpad, they kind of have to include a touchpad in the new controller if they want to have backwards compatibility. And I do expect PS4 backwards compatibility, so I expect this to be a part of the new controller. The DS5 will probably not be a whole lot different than this. Except for the sticks, as I said, those should definitely get adjusted. Not like they're horrible, but they are worse than the rest of the controller. What I definitely don't want to see is an Xbox style layout with the offset of the, like with the switch of the D-pad and the stick, because that's like, do you have asymmetric hands, or why do you want an asymmetric controller? I don't know. But that's a whole different topic that could do its entire own different freaking discussion video. But I'm not gonna open that can of worms. Especially since a whole lot of people are very defensive when it comes to their favorite controllers. Yeah. Just no. not discussing that. So yeah, that's definitely pretty much going to be the same. If they don't just actually support the DS4 as a controller for the PS5, pretty much controllers should be this. Definitely not as small as those plastic toys they called the DS3, because these things are like children toys, really cheap plastic bullshit that I do not enjoy using. Like, the only good thing about this is the size of the sticks, and that's all. Like, even the other model of DS3, which I've got here, which came with my used PS3 that I got after my first PS3 died, because it yellow light of death. Yeah, that is a little bit better, but not really. So yeah, controller, basically a DS4 with better sticks. Yeah. Next point is the storage of media files on the system the same way or a very similar way as the PS3 had. And if it's only for backwards compatibility with PS3 games, of which some, a lot actually, used on system stored music for in-game custom music. Like, for instance, the WWE games used on system stored MP3 files for in-game entrance music. The Project Diva F and F Second used stored MP3 files as music for the edit mode. Stuff like that. Just to be able to support that stuff on the backwards compatibility, if you're doing that, you'd need the storage to be a thing. Also, I still want future installments of the WWE games to have custom entrance music again. And if we ever get another Project Diva game, I want another edit mode that actually works fine and is better than the ones in F and F Second. So yeah, just in general, the whole custom music thing was a really cool thing, and I want that back. That was more of a wish than an expectation, but yeah, I'd really want that. I don't necessarily expect that. What I do expect, though, is eventually an upgraded version of the PSVR with higher resolution, preferably wireless, but seeing as the Vive already has a problem with that, with like connections being really bad and stuff and getting interrupted, I don't see that happening very soon. More importantly, replacement of the Move controllers, though, because those are kind of antiquated, and more something like the Vive's controllers. I don't have a Vive, so that kind of sounded like I said I don't have a Vive. I meant the Vive, the HTC headset. Anyway, also to go along with that, something more like the Vive's sensors. So not the PSVR camera anymore, the PS camera that is kind of a little bit not state of the art. I mean, I'll take it for the backwards compatibility and to the PSVR, the old PSVR, until they get the new model. But just having the sensors around your room so you can have room scale VR is something I'd really like to have on PS5 with a PSVR 2, if that's a thing. And yeah, that's just so the new version has something new. And of course the new headset would have to have a higher resolution, since the current picture inside the headset is like the bare minimum to make VR look good enough to not cause headaches. I'd definitely like the resolution there to go up a lot. So yeah, and to go along with that, I'd also like a media player that works with VR videos and 3D videos, so you can just watch any 3D movie inside your PSVR and have it look like you're sitting inside a theater with a 3D movie being shown on a big like movie screen, or just do the whole 360 degree video thing without having to download a third-party app like Little Star VR that is currently available for the PS4, but now also wants you to pay for their fucking 360 degree video player. part. They don't do that without you paying anymore, which is kind of shitty as a whole. But yeah, I want that to be a Sony in-house made player that just comes with the PS5 and does the whole thing without having to have a third-party app. So yeah, that's basically my expectations and a few wishes for the PS5. Definitely looking forward to this thing being announced. And I'm also looking forward to see how many of my expectations actually become reality. Leave your own expectations in the comments down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.